Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the Orange family. Thank you guys for joining us on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Today, as you know, this is Daniel Gonzalez here, and I have a colleague of mine, great guy. This is
Joel Ho with Easy Prop Tax.
Easy Prop Tax, yes. So, Joel, I have here Joel with us today because we're going to touch on a topic that is very important at this time of the year, which is protesting your taxes and how to win the protest, right? So, before we jump into that, though, Joel, tell us a bit about what you do. Oh, Joel is a licensed realtor and a licensed property tax consultant. So that's why we have Joel here today. But tell us a bit as to what called your name to this.
Yeah, so in October 2021, I came down to Texas from California, and I got my place for $385. And a few months later, the county said, "Oh, we're going to charge you based on $550." And I was like, 50% in 2 months? I don't think so. I have a finance background, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to protest these guys.
Absolutely.
I started winning, and kept winning ever since then. And that was pretty much it. Like, I decided, hey, let's do something about this so I can help everybody, because I don't want to just do it for me. I want to, really make myself a pain in the butt for these people.
Right.
Travis County.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, that's insane. The fact that they really doubled the amount that you had bought your home for, that's nuts. I mean, man, so thank you for that. Now, to jump into what the whole process is like, could you give us an overview as to how this really goes about?
Yeah. So at this point, you should have gotten a notice in the mail from your county that has a pin on it. And so what you would do is you would take that pin, you go online to the county website, and you essentially sign up for the online portal. Then by May 15th, you have to get your protest in. Once you get your protest in, you can go to the informal hearing, where it's just you and the assessor. You talk to them for a little bit, and they're going to say no, and that's totally okay. Then you go to the formal hearing after that, and that's what counts, where you really want to make sure you're prepared very well. It's a board of 3 people that you essentially argue a case in front of. If that doesn't work out for you, based on if there's something that there was a procedure wasn't followed or something wrong, then you would potentially go all the way to arbitration or to a lawsuit if there was something that was wrong, or if you really feel that your property should be much lower.
Okay, yeah, so it's not too much, so correct me if I'm mistaken. So what you do is, the first thing is, once you get that letter in the mail that tells you how much your house is appraised for the year, you would take that, go onto the county website, your CAD for the whatever website, whatever county that you're located in, and kind of give the notice of protest, right?
Yes,
which
correct.
What you have to do before May 15th.
Yes.
And to let them know that you want to go ahead and file that protest. You submit that. Once you submit that, you get a date to actually present yourself for an informal hearing, right?
You actually have to schedule the informal hearing yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and once you do that, then you get that hearing. Yeah.
Okay, so you schedule that informal hearing. Then once you get that hearing date, you go in there, you talk to them. If things don't work out, then you can actually escalate the situation.
Yeah, then you go to the formal hearing. The formal hearing, they will set the date, and then you have to make that. And then after that, then you can keep going if you'd like.
If you really like to. Okay. No, cool. So it's it's a process. That said, though, I did want to ask, what is the best way to really position yourself, Joel, in structuring a really solid argument?
Yeah.
Or debate?
The most important thing to remember is that it's not about presenting your case. It's about wrecking their case. So they're gonna come in with a case that they have all these comps that essentially prove their case. If you can find problems with those comps, that they should, like a house is worth far more than it, or far less, I should say, than it actually is. Like, for example, if they compare your house without a pool to a house with a pool, then you can just say, hey, that house has a pool and my house doesn't, therefore the value of that house should have come down, say $100,000. So basically you're looking for differences between your house and what the county is comparing to. So if you can destroy all of their comps, then you win by default.
That is nuts. So you're telling me that the county will compare your house to features with homes that don't even have the features that you have on your home?
Yeah, in some cases they will do a good job. In other cases they don't. If they do a really good job, it's much harder to beat them. But there's always something. Like you might be situated a little bit farther away from something that's good or bad in your neighborhood, and so that might affect your value. If you can provide proof of that, of course, that would be best. So, but there's usually something that you can fight on. Like even if you're in the same neighborhood as houses that they compare you to, it's still possible to fight them.
Right, and then you would see the comparables that they use when they mail you that letter, right?
Yes,
Those-
they will send it to you after you notify them that you're going to protest. They're supposed to send it to you. If you don't get it within, I would say 3 weeks of when you notify them, you would probably want to call them up and be like, hey, where's the evidence that you want to use?
Yeah, where's the evidence that you guys are using to give me the amount that you're giving me?
Yeah.
Right, essentially.
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, I mean, given that, Joe, what are your 2 best tips and tricks that you recommend folks to have?
Just keep in mind that it's much more important to beat down their numbers than to present your own case. Now, if you can do both, that's even better. So the best way, the other thing that you really want to make sure you do is focus on time management in the formal hearing, because you only have 4 minutes to present your case.
Okay.
That's really like, so the entire thing's supposed to take 15. They take 7. The assessor maybe takes 4, and so you're left with 4. So in that 4 minutes, you have to make your case and you have to rebut everything they say. So if you attack their comps, you can kind of achieve both things at the same time.
Right, right. Is there another tip that maybe you would recommend?
It's really just making sure that you have 100% correct data, and that you really look at every single house that they put out to try to make sure that you understand what their comps are based on, and then rep them.
Right. Yeah, essentially just proving them wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, given that, I mean, I know exactly what to focus on. How does one typically even go about setting up the best documentation for the debate with the county?
Right. So you want to prepare a lot of information, right? And so what I would suggest is I do have a software that is designed specifically to help people prepare all that. So the entire objective is to simplify it. So instead of taking like 10, 20 hours, which is what it took me my first year to create all the documentation.
10, 20 hours?
Yeah, per problem.
Why did it take you so long?
Because you have to write out a bunch of, like, you want to structure your arguments, like you have to think about, how am I going to write all this stuff, because you want that in a document that you create, and you have to have all the charts and comparables of like everything that's going on, and it's a lot of information. Structuring is the hard part, so I do that.
Oh, okay. So in your system helps with that structure.
Yes, yeah. So you enter the information. It's like TurboTax. You enter all the data yourself, but then it creates the final document for you, so that you can take that and run with it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Do we have a question in the audience?
Yes. Yes, a lot. Do you have a website or somewhere we can go to purchase this program that you're?
Yeah. It's ezproptax.com. It's $49 a year, so you can use it as many times for yourself as you want.
Okay,
It's
can we
gonna
make
be
sure?
on the comments.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll make sure all the info's out there for Joe too as well. I did have one last question before we turn it over to the audience. Joe, I mean, this is great and all, but with all this work that I have to do, why don't I just hire a certified protest tax company to do all my protests?
Great question. There's 2 main reasons that I can think of. One is that sometimes what these guys will do is they will, or actually very often what they'll do is they will have one argument for an entire neighborhood. And so when that argument doesn't work out, everybody in that neighborhood loses 100%. So basically, like no one wins any case. I've seen that happen in reality. Like I saw it with my own eyes. Like somebody lose 6 cases in a row. They were going on 10. I just left at that point. It wasn't worth watching. The other thing is that that also happens. Is what these guys will do is they'll have an understanding and good relationships with the county. What that actually means is, essentially they'll say, I guess this house isn't worth or is worth what you say, so I won't fight it so hard. Maybe I'll fight the next one. And so they essentially, like, some clients don't get the same sort of treatment that perhaps other clients do based on how hard or easy it is to fight the case. So then you're not really getting your money's worth, I would say.
Oh wow! I didn't realize that was. Yeah, we got a question.
Yes. Would your software tell you if you actually this assessment is good? Don't go protest because you're not going to find anything better, or you actually got a good deal already. Just by experience, I tried to protest, and as we started looking comparables, they were like, these are all way higher. You shouldn't be fighting these, or it's just gonna go up.
Yeah.
So will the software,
Yeah. If you get, it'll the software will once you made the adjustments to the other comparable houses, you will get a value that you can see that, hey, this looks like it's actually relatively reasonable. So yeah,
Okay.
you can, at that point, you can make a decision, do you really want to keep going or not? However, I would suggest that most of the time, what these counties will do is they will increase the valuation massively. So that isn't really an issue in many cases.
So what about if you have homestead? Because if you have the homestead, then they can increase the value. You could have bought a 380 and the value could be 500,000 and it shouldn't affect you. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, the homestead helps a lot in slowing down the increase. However, even with the homestead, like they're gonna push it as hard as they can, so they're gonna raise consistently 10% every year. So you do want to try to keep on top of that, because if the housing market isn't going up 10% a year, then you know you're still getting overcharged, or you will be over long term.
great, thank you.
Awesome.
You know, and essentially too, it'll really come down to making sure you stay in touch with your local realtor as well, to make sure that they can help you with the comps, or help you understand if you don't necessarily know too much, and also to see if it really makes sense, right? Like if you don't really know how to go about seeing if it makes sense to protest or not, if you talk to your local realtor, they'll definitely be able to help you with that, right?
Yes.
Sorry, how far back should we go to get those comps? Will county use this previous year or recent comps? Like
They will, so what they're supposed to do, I believe, is like comps within the last 6 months of like January 1st, I believe, like like for sales comps, and then there's other comps, the equity comps. I can't remember off the top like the date of those, but they will send you all the evidence they have, and your only objective that you need to actually accomplish is to make sure that you prove that, hey, all of your information was incorrect.
Okay.
If you can do, and you don't even have to prove all of it, if you can prove that 30% was incorrect, that's enough to throw off their numbers, and therefore their case should be, it should be dismissed, as you can say.
okay. Can I ask another question? And if I can lower the market value, but does that help me in any way if the assessed value doesn't go any down? I don't know if that makes sense. Like my market value went down, but the assessed value, what I'm being taxed on, it went up. So what can I do to make sure that it goes down so my taxes don't get affected?
Yeah, if your market, you need to basically pick protest in a way that you and set a number for your objective that is significantly lower than the assessed value. And that's because that's how you can get there. So basically, if you're setting your value too high, then you're running into that problem. So that means that you should be asking and requesting for a lower value, even lower than what you had thought previously.
Okay.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, guys, I don't know if we have any other questions.
No, we don't. We'll share in the comments. Joel's website is there.
Yeah.
And if they have any questions, to just reach out.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you guys for joining us today on this lovely Friday. Once again, this is Daniel Gonzalez with eLive Realty and
Joel Ho from Easy PropTex.
Easy PropTex. Yes,
Awesome.
sir. And thank you guys, and may you guys have a lovely Friday. And if you guys need any information, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Open house
Open house.
this Saturday.
Open house this Saturday as well. Don't forget.
Thank you.
Thank
Woo!
A brownie drive.
Brownie Drive.